Hi everybody. Um, just putting together a quick video here on how to do fog lights on a 2020 to 2024 Nissan Titan. Um, I bought this truck a couple months ago and long story short, didn't have fog lights. So I started to investigate what it would take to put fog lights in here in the factory position and found nothing. It seems that, if I had one of the big three half tons, there's dozens of videos on how to do everything for every year, going back 20, 30 years on literally everything. But with these Titans, it seems like there's just not a lot of content out there on some DIY additions, maintenance, stuff like that. So I just thought, what the heck? Might be nice to kind of put something together based on what I had been seeing online. I did a lot of different research on this. There are a couple videos out there for the 2016 to 2019 Titans on how to add fog lights to. At that time, Nissan was putting all of the harnesses in place. So basically those things are just plug and play and add a switch. When they updated the body style a little bit in 2020 and updated the interior a little bit in 2020, all of those features that were already there have been eliminated. So I am kind of wiring this up. I don't want to say from scratch, but definitely not as far ahead as I would have been if I had a 2016 to a 2019. I did get this kit off of eBay. Decent kit. There's a couple things that I don't like about it, and some of the complaints I've seen out there for the 2016 to 2019s is how ridiculously bright the backlight is on the switch for the fog lights. I do have a power supply. I did hook it up. I was actually trying to figure out which wire runs the back light to eliminate it. I couldn't figure that out, so I'm going to run with what came in the kit for now, but I will probably be replacing that down the road. And so with that, let's just jump in. There was one thing about this kit that I didn't really necessarily like. I guess can't see right now, but I do have one of the fog light assemblies already installed on the left side, driver's side. There's a bit of a gap between the trim ring and the light fixture itself. That kind of gave me pause, so I actually stopped last night. Well, I also stopped because the other bad thing about this kit is it has all of the U-bolts behind here for the fog light assembly, but there was no hardware to mount them in the kit. I had a couple of screws in my spare screw bucket that I was able to use, but I didn't have enough. So basically the U-nuts that are already in place are M6 by 1. I did read online somewhere that somebody suggested an M6 by 1 by 20. After looking at last night's, I think I used M6 by 1 by 20s, and I definitely think you could go a little shorter, maybe like a M6 by 1 by 16 or 15. So with that said, I'll take you over to the left side, just kind of show you what I'm talking about a little bit, and then we'll get started. I still have the little plug in the bumper for the right side, so I will show you how to remove that and get the new head assembly put into place, and then from there we'll go start with wiring. One thing I'm going to say too also, you absolutely do not need to do this. I'm just doing it because it's going to make the video a little bit easier to shoot. I'm going to take the wheel off. You don't need to. You can just crank it to one side and the other to get to what you need to get to. But just for content's sake, I'm going to pop the right front off so you can see everything a little bit better. So I got the left side put in last night, left being driver's side, and it's a little hard to see. You can kind of see it there a little bit. But there's a gap in here that I wasn't expecting. I was kind of expecting this to sit a little more flush with this trim ring, but it doesn't. And I was a little concerned about that last night to the point where I stopped. Since I had an idea of how I was going to fix this gap, and I was going to be driving by a dealership, a Nissan dealership this morning anyway, to go get the hardware I was going to need to fix this gap, I pulled into the lot and looked at a 2024 Pro X4, and pretty much the same thing. It was a smidge tighter, but there was still definitely a gap in here. So, I mean, by a smidge, I'm talking like maybe a 1/16 of an inch closer. I mean, very minimal. So I think I'm just going to run with this look. It does not come with any mounting hardware. However, the U-nuts are there from the factory. They are M6 by 1. I think I saw somewhere that you can go up to an M6 by 1 by 20, and that's what I bought. I think that's what I had here last night as well, but I ended up using like a spacer. So you could probably get away with an M6 by 1 by 16. Might actually be a little bit better. But yeah, that was what I was kind of talking about that had me a little concerned last night, and part of the reason why I stopped. But we're going to go ahead and dig in here a little bit. I'm going to actually take the wheel off the right side for no other reason than it'll just be easier to get some video. You don't need to do it. I did not take the wheel off the left side last night to do this, and it went pretty smooth. So with that, I'm going to bust that wheel off, and I'll bring you back in a minute. All right, so first place we're going to start is by taking these 4 screws out. There's 2 here, there is 1 up here, and there's another one coming in from the bottom down here, which didn't really work that well, but it's right down here. So we're going to go ahead and start by removing those, and let's show you what's behind there. Okay, so digging into this, oh yeah, we're back here now. So I got those screws out. If you're looking up here, here is that panel that needs to come out. I'll show you how to pop that out in a minute. But then also the U-nuts I was talking about, those are all right here. And then let's see if I can get up there with the camera up here. Not really. There we go. And then another one back there. So those will be the 3 that hold your new fog light assembly into place. And to get the old like bumper filler out, it's a highly technical process, so let's just get into it. The way I popped the other side out was pretty much just like this. So like I said, highly technical. Not really, it just clips in and pulls right out, and you can see nothing's broken. And that's how the trim ring's going to snap in as well, just like that. So we'll go get that trim ring and snap that in, and we'll start looking at mounting the fog light. All right, so we got our trim piece here. Goes like that. Back here, I'll bring it back there real quick and show you where these little things snap onto. So they're just gonna, those little slots snap into these things here, and like you see, they just snap in, snap out. One thing to think about if you're going to be doing this, after getting the left side done last night and looking at it, I'm kind of kicking myself. I, in hindsight, kind of wish I would have painted these trim rings black. I just think that I've seen a couple now. I think they look better. But I don't feel like ripping that other side apart to do that. So we're just going to stick with the silver. It's going to look good. It's definitely going to look better than these little bumper fillers, and this will work just fine. So easiest way I found to do this last night was just get it in here, get it over your little bracket there, and just start snapping them in. Some of them kind of give you a clip, some of them don't. But there they go. There they go. So there you go. That's in. Easy peasy. Alright, so like I showed you earlier here, I got a better shot here of the 3 U-nuts that we're going to be mounting the new fog light assembly to. I just want to get a better shot of that for you guys. You know, essentially, I'm just going to, I got some M6 by 1 by 20s, and we're just going to cruise them in. So I will go ahead and do that and show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the fog light assembly put in. That is good to go. So next up is going to be wiring, and I am going to probably take a second look at that. I looked at the wiring a little bit last night. I've got a pretty good idea what I'm going to do. I just want to verify that that's how it's going to go, and I still need to find a good ground somewhere. I guess I could probably, I guess there's a couple spots I could ground this out at, but
yeah, so I got to find a good ground underneath here first. That's one thing I didn't do last night. But as you can see, the fog light assembly is in, and we'll just kind of give you a quick look at the front side here. As you can see, just like the other video from earlier, when on the left side, there is a little bit of a gap here. It's actually quite a bit better on this one than it is on the other side. So next up, we'll start on the wiring. I'm going to kind of plot a path here for the underhood stuff and jump back in and kind of work through that with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're back. So I have the main harness here, and this thing, pretty simple. I believe, so it splits off here, and this will go to one of the two fog lamps, and then this end will go to the other, and you got a ground here as well. And then you come on up to this side over here. Oh yeah, and also on this end, so I'm going to guess this is the left side. So you got this, which will, there's an extender, sorry, I'm not even pointing at there. So there's a couple other, one other wire coming off here too. That is this one. This one goes up to the switch. That goes up to the cab, but there is an extender in the kit that comes with this too. So you just kind of plug it in and run it up there. So we got that. And then you come over to this end. This end has, I'm going to actually just take the red wire and go straight to the battery with it. I did find a nice spot near the battery to hang this relay, and then inside of here is a fuse. So we'll take a look at that. And when I go to the cab for the other half of the wiring harness, we'll show that to you in a minute once we get up there. I'm going to use a fuse tap for that rather than try to hook it up to power some other way. So we're going to try and fish this through right now, and get the under hood stuff set up first, and then we're going to move on to the cab from there. All right, we're back. We're underneath the hood here. So I've got the top side stuff left here, with the relay and the fuse and the wire that I'm going to tie into the battery. My plan right now is I'm going to just pop this whole thing off here. So I'm going to try and tie it into probably this one here. I did confirm last night that it is the right size, so it will fit on there nicely. So I'll probably put it underneath there. I'm going to have some excess that I'm going to just have to kind of tie up and zip tie and tuck off to the side. Don't normally like to do that. I like to try and keep things as clean and factory looking as possible. You know, when you're doing stuff like this, it's not always the easiest, but so that's the plan there. And there's a spot over here. I can't quite see it. I don't have the light up here either. That I can hang the relay from over here as well. Try to keep these two together, and I'll just be hanging that kind of back over here. So that'll go there. I can show you what that looks like when it's all done too. Let me get you bottom side. So so I should show you that too. So I ended up just taking the two bolts holding the top of the overflow tank out and ran these wires down here. I am going to clean these up and bring them down. You can't see it down there, but there is like a pretty main wire harness that kind of runs at the bottom of the overflow tank, and I'm going to try and clean this up. So I will actually run this down as well, and then try to bring it up probably over here on the back side of the, as far as the truck is orientated, the back side of the battery, and keep all of that tied up over there with have the power wire come up and hang the relay and the fuse over here, kind of keep it over there and keep it out of sight. But yeah, that's my plan right now. And then I'm going to kind of get that buttoned up here, and then I'll bring you bottom side and show you what I did. Still trying to find a path over to the left side. I think I'm going to take the skid plate off, that, you know, the one that hides the oil filter for those of you that change your own oil, and I'm sure there's a spot there that I can kind of zip tie everything up and clean it up and make it look pretty. So that's the plan with that. I'm going to go ahead and tackle that now, and I'll show you guys what that looks like when it's done. But I do actually have this side kind of pulled down. I've got the right side fog light plugged in already, and I've got all that excess I got to run over to the other side. So go from there. All right, so we're bottom side now. As you can see, that is the right side fog light assembly over there. We got that plugged in, and I got the cable running along here all the way over, and we're gonna lose some light here. Let me grab the trouble here. So we're back over here, and now I got it plugged in on the left side over there. I was looking down here to try and find a good spot to zip tie all the wiring up to. I think I'm gonna go with I got it set up there right now. I don't know if you can see it. Let me I think I'm gonna pull that bolt, and that'll be my ground right there. Seems like a good spot for it. So moseying on over here, I think I'm gonna zip tie this cable up to those. Keep losing it. There we go. There's a hole there on the front core support. There's another one, same spot on the other side over up in there. I think I'm gonna use those two holes to zip tie those wires to, and that should clean it up. And then I'll put the skid plate back on and tie that. I'm gonna bring the WD-40 down. I forgot to get that nut loose, but I'm gonna tie that ground in there, and then we should be good down here. I'll put the skid plate back on, and that'll be a wrap on the bottom side. So stay tuned, and yeah, we'll be seeing you topside again shortly. All right, we're back topside here. I think I kind of covered some of this before, where the wire came up from down below. On the right side, kind of next to the radiator, and then there's a spot. I'm trying to see if I can get it on camera there. Kind of near the side of the radiator where it goes through the core support, and then I ran it behind the coolant overflow. And then I don't know how clean you guys want to get with your wiring. The drag racer in me likes to have things cleaned up and tidy. So in these two plastic brackets here, there's one here, and then there's another one here. I ran everything, I took the bolts out and loosened up the battery and kind of pushed everything forward and ran everything back behind there as well. I have the relay zip tied in over here. Now this is kind of awkward to look at. Sorry about that. And then I ran the last power to the battery. I actually kind of tucked it between, between these two boxes here. I can get a better look at it there. And then just kind of ran it up through there. So now that is done, let me just have my light up here because it's kind of getting to be a pain in the ass. I'm going to just go ahead and slap the cover back on here. Yep. Try and slap the cover back on here. Got to be smarter than the cover. How does that attach? There. Alright, so there. Now that's all buttoned up. Top side's done. I might clean up that red wire a little bit more. We'll see. I don't know. It's not really bothering me too much. That's the dirtiest wiring I have, then that's actually not that bad. So next step is going to be feeding everything for the switch to the firewall, and then find power for that. I think I mentioned earlier that I'm going to use a fuse tap. Alright, so I'll get you guys back down here one last time before I button everything up. So as I said, I got the right side all plugged in and ready to go over there. Zip tied the cable coming over to the left side to I think it's the core support, I'm not sure. It just comes across over here and hit the, see if I can get that in there. Other side zip tied there, and then got the left side all tied in. And I did end up grounding it where I said I was going to, so I got the ground on that. I think that's might be the bumper mount bracket. Not 100% sure. It's metal. It'll make a good ground. So got that all tucked up, and then the power cord I got going top side right there for now until I can figure out a better spot. So from here I'm gonna put the skid plate back on, put this thing back on the ground, and figure out how we're gonna start feeding things through the firewall. Alright guys, I'm back, and it's a little after midnight still, so I'm just pushing through. Sorry, that is really blurry. Let me get up in here. So that hole right there is where the hood release cable goes through the firewall. That is the absolute perfect spot to run these wires through. It comes out right on top of the wheel well and right where I need the wires to be. So I'm actually going to just use an old coat hanger that I straightened up and some electrical tape, because I don't have fish tape. I'm not an electrician. Obviously, you guys probably figured that out already. But I'm going to use that coat hanger and tape the wires I need through the firewall and just push them through. And I'll show you what we're looking at under the hood when I get that done. You can barely see back there, but pop right through the firewall right above the fender, or right the wheel well, inner wheel well, and pretty much right up to the air filter. So nice and easy. Just pushed it through. One of them is the extender for this on the other side. This thing I can't get the feedback over, so I'll just use some heat shrink and shrink those two together. For some reason they sent a red extender for this yellow wire. Go figure. All right, we're back. We got everything buttoned up underneath the hood finally. This is the extender. It came with some little rubber things, but I didn't like them, so I went and just put some heat shrink on there just to be safe. All right, so both of those wires are running through the firewall into the cab underneath the steering wheel behind the dash. So next up we'll be in there and we'll be buttoning everything back up. Yeah, so far so good. Cruising right along. I'm pretty happy with the progress so far, and yeah, I think we're really dang close to the finish line. I'm gonna go ahead and start tying all this stuff together, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. And then we'll go to the cab and we'll put the switch in, tie all that together, and then we'll start testing lights. All right, everybody. So now we're in the cab. Plenty of videos out there showing you how to take this panel off, but it's just 2 screws and you grab and pull and it snaps off. But so first thing I did, I probably should have tried to get a little bit of it on video, was took one of the blanks out and put my new switch for the fog lights in. So here's the blank I pulled out. So I just kept it going right in line with everything else. I didn't want to get too crazy with anything. Oops, sorry. It just seemed like the easiest way to go about it. All right, so next up, we're pretty much at the finish line now. We're really dang close. So we got this guy here, it plugs into the back of the switch, and then I just have to land that yellow wire on the extender that I pulled through, and this red wire to the power source, to the power, or the fuse tap, and hopefully everything should be working then. If it's not, oh, and I gotta find a ground. That's one thing I gotta figure out still. Plenty of places right there. I mean, that spot's looking pretty good right there. So maybe we'll just put it right there. Yeah, plenty of places to ground this out. So yeah, I'll go ahead and tie all this together. All right, everybody, we're back here. So I was originally going to use this fuse tap under the hood. I found that box on the left side towards the front. Every single outlet in there is hot all the time. And with the backlight on the switch, I don't really want to keep it hot all the time. So I came to the cab and started looking at the fuse box in the cab. I just pulled the glove box just because it was kind of easier to get to everything. And so I ended up metering everything out. And the fuse I ended up going with was the top one here for the washer fluid pump. So I'm going to tap into that one. I did meter it out, and there was no power there with ignition off, and ignition on, it does power up. So that's where I'm going to pull my power in the cab for the switch. So I'm going to run it back here behind the dash over to the other side and tie it into the switch, and we should be back up and running. I could have found a different source inside and used one of these. That was one option. I mean, there's multiple ways to go about doing this. All right, so I went ahead and fished the wire over from the switch or the button, whatever you want to call it, over on the driver's side, on the kick panel there with the rest of the buttons and switches. Kind of a pain in the ass to get it through the back of the dash. I ended up using just grabbed an old wire coat hanger and straightened it out, and kind of, because I don't have any fish tape and I'm not an electrician, so had to kind of rig something up. So I just straightened up a coat hanger and just ran it through the back of the dash. Ran into a bunch of stuff. Kind of took me a minute to finally get it all the way through there, but once I did, I just taped it on and pulled it back through. So we got it tapped in. Like I said, it's tapped into the washer pump for the washer fluid. And let's well, everything's powered up right now, and I do not see that the backlight on the switch is on. So let's just buzz over to the other side and make sure that that is on keyed. Well, I mean, there's no key, I guess, but on ignition power. Make sure everything's working. We'll go from there. All right, we're back. So I did end up go ahead and grounding that ground right there. I got the extension pulled in, and I put some heat shrink on that too. I don't know about you guys, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. God, there's nothing more satisfying than watching heat shrink over some wire. I don't know why. It's just a satisfying thing. And then I have that other part right there, the this part here that goes to the keyed ignition fuse. I just used a butt connector with that didn't come with the kit. So let's give her a whirl and see what we got. Oh, there is power to the switch, so that's a good sign. It's awfully bright. I don't know if I like that, but we'll see if we can figure that out. But here we go. Alright, hitting the button. Heard a relay click. I see a light. And there we go. We got one fog light and two fog lights. Alright, well, that concludes today's installment. And let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want to see more videos like this? This is my first one. Kind of had fun, kind of, you know, chronicling my adventure, and yeah, it was a good time. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope this was helpful. And finally, there is a video showing people how to install fog lights on their 2020 to 2024 Nissan Titans. Enjoy.